Welcome back to the Zach Djellab channel, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are doing very, very well. As you can see by the title of today's video, we're going to be talking about the January transfer window. We're in that time. It is December, but we're going to be talking about transfers. Henry, how you doing?
Oh, yes, I'm very well, thank you.
Glad to hear it. Patrick, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Look at us wearing the same clothes as last week. Ugh.
It's weird.
Weird, very weird. As you can see, as I said by the title, we're going to be looking at the one player your club needs to sign this January in order to help them win the title. We're going to be going through Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and I was thinking we could maybe touch upon Brighton, but I don't think there's any point in that. But who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us all. We spoke a lot about Manchester City in last week's video, so we won't start there. Let's kick things off over in Liverpool. Obviously, they're top of the league currently. They didn't make a lot of summer moves just gone. They obviously were looking at Zubimendi in midfield. Didn't happen. They obviously brought in the new keeper who won't join until next summer. But it's all about making signings now. So where do you think the positions they need to look at are? Because Jota, perennially injured. After the Newcastle game, I've seen Liverpool fans worrying slightly about Darwin Núñez leading that front line for as much as he's needed for the season. Left back, we've spoken about how Andrew Robertson isn't quite at the race anymore.
Oh, no, I mean, he has been a lot better the last month.
I'd still look to possibly get a left back, genuinely. And so, yeah, where do we think the number one position is that they need to fix before anything? And then we can maybe look at what players to bring in there. What do you say? Would you say it's a forward? Do you think it's a midfielder? Do you think it's a left back, Pat?
Left back. Like, I think they want a midfielder, but I just don't think you can get a Liverpool quality midfielder for a reasonable price in January. And generally speaking, Liverpool say, if the player's not out there at the price we're willing to pay, then we just leave it and we'll come back to it next summer. To me, left back is a slot where they look like they have some issues. You know, everywhere else in the attack, I just don't worry about them. Like, they can complain about Darwin Núñez, but like, oh, I'm sorry that you're £65 million striker. Like, you don't like him leading your attack. Get over it. Like, the attack is really good. The attack is totally fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think unless Zubimendi changes his mind and the price is the same as it was before, realistically, you're not going to get the perfect guy for you in January.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pay a massive premium, and I just don't think Liverpool do it. Whereas left back is a position they need to address anyway. So if they can address it in January and maybe it costs them like 5 or 10 mil more than they'd like, I don't think they'll really sweat it. And I also think they could look for a profile there who's like a centre back who can play left back, or a left back who can play centre back. So we talked about him last week, but someone like Scalvini, I don't think you get him in January, but that kind of profile makes a lot of sense to me.
So you think
someone who can play left back for the rest of the season as a more defensive role, which allows Trent to be more attacking, which he hasn't really done so far, but also who could potentially age into the Van Dijk replacement on the left side of defence. I think that would be an interesting way for them to look at it.
So you think they should go a little bit more conservative with the choice they pick in terms of an attacking left back? So I've seen some rumours about Liverpool looking at Kerkez at Dortmund, at Bournemouth, who's obviously been very, very good this season. Anthony Robinson is always a name that comes up that Henry knows well.
They could go and get, Miguel Gutierrez from Girona, for example, who's an outstanding attacker. He's 23 years old. Like, he's been linked with Real Madrid. If they are going to get Davies, but honestly, I think they should try and hijack Davies.
Alphonso Davies.
Yeah, of course. At the very least, you should try and do it. And if they say, no, he's made his mind up, he's going to Real Madrid, then fine. But
it's a good offer to go, hey, mate, we're fighting for the title here.
Yeah, and say, like, you're really good. Like, there'll be no language barrier here. Yeah. Already slotting into a side who've got an excellent coach and a really good team around them. Like, will pay you crazy wages, probably better than he gets paid at Bayern.
Yeah.
Maybe even better than he get paid at Real Madrid, because Real Madrid tend to pay their top players a lot, but the other players maybe not so much. I mean, I guess he'd go on a free, but to me, they should definitely take an interest in that. Kerkez, I think, would be fine, but Kerkez is going to cost. It's one of those things. Bournemouth might be able to be negotiated with because they're not really in the hunt for anything. Like, they could maybe get some European football, but they're not going to get Champions League football. They're certainly not going to get relegated. So if you went to them and said, we'll give you like 45 million for your 21-year-old left back, then maybe they say, okay. I kind of think the Ait Nouri thing has passed.
Yeah.
I think a load of these guys have passed. There have been links between them and Nuno Mendes. That's not going to happen.
No.
I I think it's a really hard position to recruit for.
I do wonder if I always wonder though with Alphonso Davies now that like the second it gets to January, you go, hey, like we'll pay Bayern Munich to come get you now, and he goes, well, why don't you just give me that money in 6 months' time? That's the only worry I think for him right now. Otherwise,
that's totally fair.
Unless he thought the idea of like going for a Premier, like possibly winning the Premier League, is so much more worth it than the possible like £20 million signing on bonus he might get.
Yeah, but you could say, but that's the cost.
Yeah,
as in like otherwise you're saying it would cost the same in summer as it would in January. It's just that the money goes to Davies instead of Bayern.
No,
whereas
agree.
in this situation, you'd say, well, we are going to spend that extra 20 mil and it's going to Bayern, but we're still going to have to pay Davies the 20 mil signing on.
No, completely. But my point more so is that Davies himself, because obviously he's got to agree the contract, doesn't he? And he just goes, well, I don't mind waiting 6 months.
But my point is, you say to him, like, say in the summer, you're like, right, you get a 20 mil signing on bonus, and then these are your wages. Well, you just have to say in January, well, we still pay that, but we also pay 20 mil to Bayern Munich.
So it becomes 40.
So actually, the amount that you pay extra is only like 20 mil. You just have to say, we're still going to pay you the signing bonus.
Yeah. He will want monstrous wages.
Yeah,
it's a really important position.
And he's young enough. Like he's only 24. Like it's somewhere where you could. It's not like you're paying him a 30-year-old that kind of money. It's not easy. I think the other thing, Henry, as well, right, is that to be honest, if they got one of the guys to sign a contract, Trent, VVD, or Salah in that January window, that could also be as important. To be quite honest. Mm-hmm. So there is that option there that one of those guys managed to sign a contract. But however, I am happy to give.
I think Kirkesh is a cool idea as well, by the way. I do think.
Just so they don't go for Robinson.
Yeah.
I think Alphonso Davies might
Robinson's probably a bit old for them.
Yeah, I think Alphonso Davies might be the one that would be the fun one, whereas Kirkes would maybe be the smart one. And so I think Kirkes is probably the person we can give the sign off there, knowing what Liverpool are like normally. Let's talk a little bit about Arsenal, because there's a couple of interesting areas that could happen for Arsenal. I think it's definitely looking further up the pitch for the transfer window in January. We obviously saw them bring Raheem Sterling in on loan, who's not necessarily kind of set the world alight. There are a few rumours about Arsenal having internally discussed the likes of Sesko, who we saw happen in the summer. Victor Gyökeres, obviously he's been linked to Manchester United as well. I also wondered about the possibility of looking at a Kolo Muani. There's also maybe the need for creative cover if Odegaard ever got injured again, and even someone that could maybe cover Saka on the right wing there too. Where do you think, Henry, the ideal position is for Arsenal?
Yeah, I think... and the dream would be an alternative that could cover that Saka, Odegaard void of creativity when they're missing. And yeah, because as we all know, Saka plays probably too much football. And then Odegaard, it wasn't even that bad when he dropped out. Like people make out like it was a City level disaster when Odegaard wasn't there. It wasn't too bad. They drew a few more games than they ordinarily would. So I mean, I would be prioritising sort of an attacking winger who can play centrally at times, because also Martinelli has been proven maybe not the person to like, you know,
put all your eggs in one basket for. You know who I genuinely think
22.
You know,
these guys are kids.
He's just not as good as you think he is.
He's really good.
If you think Pedro Neto is like this dust,
if
you think Neto's this dust footballer, but you're living and dying by the Martinelli sword.
Martinelli has better output playing for a much better team.
Martinelli's good.
Martinelli's had 20 goal involvements in the Premier League season. Neto's never done anything of the
He
kind.
is good, but he's not this like God-given player that you
He's not. Well, he's not. The thing is, he's
been around for ages.
He hasn't exploded in the. Yeah, but he's still 23. Like he hasn't exploded in the way that you would wanted him to 2 years ago. But he's put up numbers in his career that Pedro Neto has been lucky to get half of.
I don't know why you defend him so much and yet like
because
hate
he's
on
good.
players like Neto.
I don't hate on Neto. I just think Neto. I wouldn't sign him for over £50 million when he's injured all the time and has never been that great. Like I defend Martinelli because Martinelli I do think has over the last couple of seasons suffered because Arsenal really haven't had a functioning left-hand side. I think that's been a bit of an issue for him. Like this season as well, his underlying numbers once again are fantastic. I don't know. I think he's just a good player, and people talk about him like, oh well, he's eminently replaceable. It's like he's literally better than some of the players we talk about at other sides as being like really, really good. What a player having a great season. Like Martinelli's been better than those players.
I guess people sometimes complain about his output, don't they? But it's also tough when you're up against
he literally 20 goal involvements in the league when he was 21.
I know, but that was a couple of seasons ago.
Well, yeah, but then he got injured, and then last season we were playing like Kivior at left back. I don't know what you're going to do.
I do get both sides. I also think it's difficult when your other winger is Bukayo Saka, and like when they both broke through roughly at the same time. And Saka kind of continued this unbelievable rate. But also, you can't really... I think it's also harsh to compare him to someone who is one of the best players in the league. One of the guys I genuinely think would be a really, really, really good signing, and Arsenal would have to pull off a bit of magic somehow and offer some crazy money. Xavi Simons.
Sure.
Obviously, he's at RB Leipzig at the moment. He's currently injured as well. I think he's got an ankle injury at the moment. It would involve having to get PSG to recall him, which probably would cost PSG a little bit of money, and then Arsenal paying. So it might be a very, very expensive move. But this is someone that covers both wings, can play that 10 role. Like, the guy is versatile.
When you say cover, though, he'd need to start.
Oh, yeah.
As in, he'd immediately... The idea would be he'd bench Martinelli in the long term.
He'd bench Martinelli
and then there's
term.
another cost.
Then
there's another cost factored into it, which is like you've got a really, really good young winger whose value gets cratered because you're not then going to be able to sell Martinelli for what he's worth.
But is there not the idea that Martinelli can also cover that striker position as well? Like I know he
not
did
really
it very early.
We've never used him there under Arteta.
I think Xavi Simons could really help.
I agree. Be a great player, but I think sometimes you factor into the amount you pay for a player, like what it does to the value of the other players.
But there's going to be a cost here because I don't know what player really can you get in who is happy to not start, and then be the option for when you need to rest Odegaard or when you need to rest Saka.
Well, what would be nice is if they could play say the left 8 role, or they could could play up front sometimes. Like Xavi Simons can't do that. So for example, there was a rumour that Arsenal wanted to loan Arda Güler in January. Yeah. Well, if Arsenal could loan Arda Güler for 6 months, that would be great.
You know what? That actually, Pat is spot on. No.
That does exactly the two things Sammy says. Odegaard and...
Yeah, I've been thinking what
you
could
did it with Odegaard, didn't you?
Arda Güler, if you could get him on loan for 6 months, and because it's a lot of these transfers, I'm like, can any of these actually happen? Yes. Go and get Arda Güler on loan for 6 months. That fills 2 voids. Rescue him from his... he should never have gone there anyway and expected to play. I don't know what his agent told him. It's as if Güler's agent said to him, you're going to be the new... Apparently, they said you're going to be the new Modric. Obviously not. Have you seen how good their squad is? He's not getting minutes.
He's played a little bit more recently with these injuries.
Yeah, he has played a little bit more, but still.
Loan Arda Güler. Offer 5 million loan fee or something like that. Get him in! Yeah,
especially if you're closer... if you're closer to Liverpool. So, for example, Arsenal now have Fulham away. That's their toughest game in December. Yeah. But they don't leave London. They don't leave London this month. And they've got Palace away. They've got, I can't remember, I think they've got Everton at home.
It's a nice fixture. Liverpool's fixture isn't too bad
It's very congested.
But they're away.
There are lots of fixtures, but the fixtures aren't too bad. So, if Arsenal come January, they made up 2 points on Liverpool last night. So now they're 7 points back. If in January they've made up another couple of points, then that's a more... If you haven't made up those points, then maybe you kind of debate it and you're like, can we actually catch them? But Güler would be the perfect player to cover for Odegaard or Saka. I had another player in mind, but I can't remember.
That's right. I think we've nailed it.
How quickly it changes. Henry calling you out for Martinelli. Then
loving it. It's a great suggestion. I think that's Arsenal sorted.
Well, can't you loan? You should loan. Who's that overrated player? Phil Foden. You should loan Phil Foden. And he can cover those positions.
Well, I thought you were being serious. I did want to get a little shout out to Omar Mamouche at the moment, killing it at Frankfurt. He was actually a suggestion I was going to say for Liverpool.
But is that not just... Everyone's just he has to go to Liverpool because they're like... How do we replace this Egyptian winger?
Well, he's playing up top a lot, isn't he? He's playing striker quite a lot as well. So he could happen in January and play with him.
It's quite a hard...
Eintracht are second in the Bundesliga. Yeah. I think
you'd have to offer a lot of money. Yeah.
Again, this is their big hit at the Bundesliga. But there's an argument.
But there's an argument though for Liverpool that I saw Carragher say this, and I do agree that obviously a lot of Liverpool signings are with the idea of the future. I completely agree. And to be fair, Mamouche would also tick that box. But there is an argument to go and about spending all this money. do it now to give yourself the best chance of winning.
Flags fly forever. I absolutely agree with that they should pay a bit more to try pay a bit more for Davies if you can, because you're like, how much do we pay to basically solidify this title in the first year of a new manager? Like, that's invaluable to us. But you're willing to go 10, 20 mil over what you would normally do, or maybe 50. Get an extra loan, or maybe buy an extra, little bit of backup.
Yeah.
What you're not willing to do. So maybe in January you were like, right, okay, we're gonna try and get Alphonso Davies. We're gonna get a big signing on bonus, and then we're gonna go and get like Jonathan David off Lille, and that's like our January. Maybe you do that, and you're like, whatever, best we can do. I agree that's a perfectly reasonable approach. But I don't know if Marmoush. I just don't think you get Marmoush in January.
It would be very difficult. It would be very, very difficult. It could also, I guess, like them winning the Bundesliga, they're looking at the cost equivalent there too, as well. There's definitely no chance that Victor Osimhen happens as well. He said that basically he's not going to be moving anywhere in January, even though there was the clause for 62 million euros.
Loves the gala lifestyle.
If somebody came in and offered big money and they were a big club, Victor Osimhen would change his mind immediately.
Would you have him at Arsenal?
Huh?
Would you have him at Arsenal?
No. Would I have him? Like, what if he just turned up and he was free?
No, if he cost you £62 million.
No, we need to spend that money in other places.
Okay. So we're saying Arda Güler loan is what has to happen.
If you can get it done, that would be incredible.
And it's Odegaard all over again. He goes back, realises I'm not going to play again. Arsenal come in with a cheeky bid.
You could also do something like Cherki.
Yes.
He's famously a massive. He's famously a massive dick and a real problem. But at Arsenal, he would just not be a big guy.
He's really good at it.
He'd walk into the Arsenal dressing room and everyone would say, like, "Shut up, sit down. Like, you're not important here." And because Lyon need to sell everybody in January, you could probably get him for a knockdown fee.
That's a hell of a shout. Yeah, Ryan Cherki. After rejecting Fulham in the summer, now must be sold.
Honestly, that would be so good.
Not too bad for him to get into Arsenal.
If you're at Fulham now, he'd be earning more money. He'd be playing for a better team, and I don't know. He might be a problem.
Yeah, he might. Yeah,
he is famously a knob.
You know who I was thinking Arsenal he should go in for in the summer. I mean, go for him in January if you want. Karni Chukwuemeka, that left centre mid role.
We just bought Marino there. It's like,
whatever. Okay, Chelsea, because I know they're saying obviously
don't sign anyone. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Sell people. You need to sell people. You should actually sell people for team unity. Like, sell some people.
Right back
to help with a title charge.
You don't have a title charge.
I actually do think.
What do you mean to help with the title charge?
I agree that Chelsea aren't like, I think they're doing the right things and they're not in a title charge, but they're the same position as Arsenal, but they're above Arsenal right now.
Yeah, but they are worse than Arsenal.
No, they are scoring a lot of goals, Pat. I think that's slightly.
I agree.
Sorry, why are you laughing like that?
I think Arsenal.
Why do you laugh like? Oh my god! What a controversial statement! It's like Chelsea are nowhere near as good.
They're not
as
as good
City as Liverpool or Arsenal.
Okay, but they're still managing to do pretty well.
Yeah, but that's fine. But
you can easily say they're.
Yeah, but then you don't try and maximise their chance of winning this season. You try and maximise their chance of winning next season.
But okay, but for
so that means you don't sign anyone in January.
But for the video, there is like, we're going to say Chelsea have to sign someone to help their chances of finishing as high as possible or finishing for the title. Like, I agree. I think they're doing the perfect thing by saying.
In the long term, you need a centre back. You need a right-sided centre back. Disasi is crap. Fofana will never walk again.
Fofana's injury.
Who else have you got who's crap?
Worries.
Probably some other guys.
Fofana's injury worries.
Tosin, crap.
I think Fofana and Colwill have actually been very good as a partnership. But I do agree, it is a slight worry to rely on this person. And Fofana, who's obviously, he came off with a hamstring injury most recently. So who do you think, if there was a right centre-back out there, would be maybe one of the better choices to go for?
Thiago Silva.
Playing back in Brazil. Jules Koundé, obviously, is at Barca. Not doing too bad. Don't think he's
there's no planet where they're selling him. He's actually really...
Okay, yeah, well, they were possibly last January were willing to sell him, but...
And they're better than Chelsea.
Mark Gehi, obviously, at Palace. Would it be worth bringing him back?
Not worth it.
Chelsea would be able to kind of get 20 million off his fee. 20% off of his fee. Because they have a 20%. But
they were quoting people 60 mil,
clause.
right? So 20% off his fee is 12 mil. So that's 48 million for a guy who's okay.
Do you have any money?
Chelsea.
Can you actually spend any more money on players?
They can spend they have the money to spend. Whether an FFP issue, yeah, for sure. It's just a fun video, lads. Like, I agree, of course.
Yeah, but why is it not fun to say, like, actually what Chelsea should do is not sign anyone. They should sell. They should They should make that squad smaller
I
tighter
think,
and be like, this is our team.
That is right.
I agree. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Everyone wanted a striker in the summer. Every Chelsea fan who's watching this being like, oh no, we should sign someone. We're in the title race. I'm sorry, you're an infant. Like in the summer, they all wanted new strikers.
They wanted Hosman.
They all wanted a new striker instead of Nicholas Jackson. And now look at Nicholas Jackson. He's amazing.
Of course.
A bit of patience and a bit of consistency is what's needed. And similarly, Enzo has just started playing well. Like
I genuinely think
the defense is still quite bad, but I think that changing the unit over is not going to help it get better.
I think actually everyone at home with Chelsea fan would say and agree that yes, they don't buy anyone. That's the idea. Keep this squad together. I do agree.
Put Jorgensen in goal.
That
is your big transfer.
They put him against Southampton. He played against Southampton.
Well, not the best game for him to show what he can do, considering.
Oh, they won 5-1.
Yeah.
So they got maybe help.
So he conceded Southampton. Rubbish.
Yeah, it was a bad error from the defenders.
It was nothing to do with the keeper though, was it?
No, it was cut back. I would have said a right centre back would be the one, and I don't know quite.
Can I tell you what you pick, Zach?
No, I was waiting for suggestions, but apparently not. Apparently not. I don't know. It depends who's available. Like literally, like Jonathan Tah at Leverkusen is obviously they talk about him. Obviously, ending them last season. There is a possibility that Real Madrid
I think like
him.
if you're a right centre back and Chelsea come knocking for you, I think you still look at the number of centre backs you have got and go.
I think Disasi's going to go.
Why would I do that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you said that people said this about every single player that's signed for Chelsea, and yet they do. Like, I think they can offer you the wages, the places to live. Like, there is definitely the competition there.
But you might also be able to ring a player and say like, "Hi, what's the situation there?" And it's like, you ring Nkunku or something, and he's like, "Yeah, don't come here. It sucks." Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, if you get like Diamond would be amazing for you. Like, he's an excellent right-footed, very young centre back. He's mostly played has played a lot in the middle of a back three. Yeah. So like, in that sense, he's not like totally perfect for you guys. But I think he's a fantastic player. Like, that would be great. However, if you did that, I'd say you're stupid because you're going to have to sell somebody you don't want to sell in the summer. Like, you should just loan out Mudryk to the Championship. Consider selling Carney because I like the player, but you're getting zero value out of him. Like,
yeah, he's the one player who's not really been able to feature under Maresca, sadly. And I think actually he'd be really good.
Ousmane Diamond is a good suggestion.
Okay. Ousmane Diamond then. Welcome to Chelsea. What else? I guess Man City then. We spoke about them in the last video. But we spoke, I guess, a lot about their signings coming in the summer. This January, if they had to sign one player to fix them, is it Zubimendi?
Yes. It is.
Yeah.
Because he actually, I think you can get him. Sociedad are not going very far this year. They're like struggling outside the top four. I'm going to double check that. But they've certainly had a slow start to the season. I read that he changed his mind, wanted to stay, and apparently he was like, oh, actually, maybe that was a good idea to leave after all. I think that Sociedad team are at the end of the cycle in terms of like the big superstars and that. So yes, Guardiola, Rodri, all the links are there. Bring him in. I think that's a really good deal. 50 million for a really young, so
I think it might be 60 odd, but yeah, still,
City've
got the money to spend.
That is the transfer.
you could do Kimmich as well. Like, Kimmich's contract is up at the end of the season. He can cover right back, central midfield. Like, he can do it. He's not like an all-action defensive midfielder, but actually neither is Rodri. Like, Rodri doesn't like do a load of defending really. Like, he's just there when you need him to be because he's super smart. Pep already knows him. That would kind of work. It's not that exciting, but it's fine.
That's quite fun. I think it's pretty exciting.
Funny.
Yeah,
like his the fee wouldn't be a lot because he goes in for free in the summer. But I think that right now he's probably thinking, can I go to Real Madrid? Because they need right back cover and DM cover. And if Real Madrid don't go for him, then he'll be thinking, what is going to happen to me in the summer? Like, where exactly am I going to? Like, maybe Liverpool need a right back who can do some passing, so they get him. But I don't know. I don't think
he'll probably have options though. Like, there's going to be one club where he'll be happy with it.
Bayern would probably give him a new contract, but maybe not on such good terms if you know that all the other rivals have said no.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough for him. I think Zubimendi or Kimmich. Well, City fans, let us know in the comments. Let us know, Zubimendi or Joshua Kimmich. I think probably, it is Zubimendi. But that is all of the title
what about Brighton?
Challenges. Brighton.
No, they spent so much money in the summer.
They did. And obviously they're doing fantastically well. But obviously they play this week. They play today, actually. Obviously we're shooting this on Thursday. There are rumours, by the way, guys. I was reading this on The Athletic. Few top 6 clubs are looking at Liam Djellab.
Yeah.
He's a good striker.
So Ipswich would definitely not sell in January. It would have to be a mental amount of money for them to sell. But come the summer, we might see Liam Djellab end up moving to one of the big 6, which could be very interesting.
Yeah,
he's obviously done incredibly well this season. But yeah, Brighton sign a. I don't know. You've kind of got everyone actually already. To be honest, just keep the squad.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, everyone's still gelling under the new manager.
Loan out Evan Ferguson, which seems like will be happening possibly. Even though obviously the manager said, I think the manager said no, but he was never going to say yes.
I saw it said West Ham are considering a bid for Evan Ferguson. I'm like, of course they are. They absolutely love it. Any striker. Like, you want to come to West Ham? So.
Gary O'Neill and Lopetegui.
Fulkrug scored though, didn't he?
He did score. But Gary O'Neill and Lopetegui going to be very interesting.
Gary O'Neill, manager of Wolves, who lost 4-0 to Everton this week. It's interesting. It's an interesting
little swap over. Lopetegui back to Wolves. O'Neill to West Ham.
Yes. Lopetegui does need to be sacked. Rumours that they want Potter. Absolutely get Potter in. Can you imagine how big an improvement Potter would be on Lopetegui?
Yeah,
great.
It's not got much better.
Watch Kudus ball under Potter.
Well, they had
very upset.
It was such a weird message that.
What was this one?
Balagay was like, Lopetegui's doing people saying Lopetegui's not doing a good job. He's doing a great job at West Ham.
But that's like when he said, but he posted about this earlier in the season when he was like, I can't believe people criticize me. He went to Real Madrid, he went to the Spanish national team. It's like, flamed out of both. And he was like, he did a fantastic job at Wolves. It's like, he did a terrible job at Wolves. Like, I'm sorry, they were really bad under him. I think they scored like 30 goals in 30 games or something. They were absolute garbage. Like, they stayed up because there were worse teams in the league. But Balagay just always goes to the mat for his friends and for people who he claims are his friends but actually can't be verified as his friends. Like Leo Messi, he's my friend. It's like, do you reckon Leo Messi would recognise Guillaume Balagay if he saw him in a room? I doubt it.
Well, Guillaume Balagay, you're not going for the title. Though he does own a football club. Maybe they are going for their title. Anyway, that is the end of today's video. We weren't going to go through United just because they are not in the title race. That is for sure. Henry Hill, where can the people at home check you out?
Oh, if you haven't already, please go watch the Football Behind Bars series, which we're doing on Football Joe, where we go and find fan bars in London which host Europeans, like AC Milan fans. They all go to the same bar. Genoa fans all go to the same bar. And it's actually really nice. It's about celebrating the diversity of this wonderful city. An important message in this day and age. Please go support that.
Did you come up with the title of that? Football Behind Bars?
Yes, I did.
Really good.
It was going to be Home Away from Home, and then we called it Football
Behind Bars is great. Sounds like obviously a prison.
Yeah, I know. And I'm hoping at some point we will do a prison. I'd love to go prison ball. That'd be fun.
Patrice, where can they check you out?
Unseen Incidents is my podcast with Pete Dorman. You can find us on your favourite podcast app. We've got episodes dropping this weekend where we actually look at some signings for the big clubs in January as well. I don't talk about the players I've talked about here. I'm also on the Transfer Flow podcast. That's live on YouTube on Mondays and Wednesdays and also on podcast apps.
There we have it. Yeah, sorry for a shorter episode this week, guys. However, we should hopefully be able to get another video out as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.